What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Brian Reacts, where I review both amateur and pro form alike. I've actually been focusing a lot on pros lately, and today I have none other than the great Niklas Anttila, the Finnish phenom who at 23 years of age has already gone on a tear through the pro circuit. He actually seems like his pro career began a little bit before the pandemic. He was competing a lot around Finland, but he didn't really begin to play internationally until I think around 2021, 2022. And he has made a huge impact on the sport. He's climbed all the way up to a 1040 rating, which puts him among the very elite and very best in the sport. He's seemingly on countless lead cards in event after event, and he would be on my short list of people who would be in the conversation to win a world championship, honestly. Incredibly consistent, incredibly deadly, incredibly accurate, very good mental game, all around very balanced player. But interestingly enough, Niklas Anttila is not known for backhand power. I've seen no evidence that Niklas Anttila can throw faster than maybe 64 or 65 miles an hour at full power. And this video is going to kind of demonstrate that. With that said, I'm going to jump right into the action. Again, if you like these videos, please leave some comments. I will respond and read everything. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that as well. Without further ado, Niklas Anttila's form. So we're going to watch this in full speed at the beginning. Here is Niklas Anttila at regular speed. All right, so that is his biomechanics. Let's watch that again. And you'll probably notice something right away. It doesn't look very fast. His form is not explosive. In fact, when we look at it piece by piece, when we look at this in slow motion, you're going to see that it is the opposite of explosive. In fact, he's doing all these little things that I believe not only subtract power, but kind of make him a little bit more almost accurate in a way. Let's jump over to the start of his, basically the three parts of his X step. And I'm going to break this down incrementally. We're going to see exactly where is Niklas Anttila leaking power. There's a lot of Finns who crush the disc. There was a guy that I watched in a competition recently that was throwing over 80 miles an hour. And of course, the great Christian Kuoksa, who I will definitely showcase later on in this channel, that guy's thrown a disc 90 miles an hour on camera, although it was a very lightweight disc. But without any question, Christian Kuoksa can throw over 80 miles an hour. And as far as I know, a lot of Finnish players have all kind of trained in the same facilities and trained under the same teachers. Why is Niklas Anttila only throwing in the mid to low 60 mile per hour range? Let's figure that out. So at the beginning here, you can see Niklas Anttila's form kind of looks, I don't know, it looks very sedate. Notice where the disc is. He's got the disc tucked in against his core here, and it's almost like he's holding it in two hands. A lot of people will put the disc out in front of their body. Some of them will load it back by their left hip. If you think of someone like Drew Gibson, he's got it back by his left hip. Someone like Aaron Gossage might have the disc out in front of him. Niklas Anttila has the disc tucked up right against his body, which is already pretty unusual. He's already kind of bent over at the waist as he's doing his footwork here, although you can see that his head is gazing with intensity down the line right here. So he's throwing a basically completely straight shot. I imagine his bullet formation is right here, and all of his footwork is going to be set up in service of that. Eyes locked on the target. And this is, I think, where you're going to see the first thing that's unusual about Niklas Anttila's form. The left foot is going way in front of his body. So if you look at the form of someone like Aaron Gossage or someone like Paul Macbeth or Drew, their back foot tends to land about right here. The idea is that you want to keep all of your mass in front of the instep of the back foot. You want to keep it almost parallel to your belly button. And yet Niklas Anttila's left foot is way, way, way up in front of his body. This is such a strange position to have his foot because, first of all, one, when you have your foot that far in front of your body, it's going to take real gymnastics to avoid that faux pas of having your weight in two places at the same time. Having your left foot this far in front of your body, striding this far in front of your body, makes that much more difficult, and I do not recommend it. So we'll see what he does with that position. Now he's settled onto the back foot, and he is able to get his left foot or his right foot off the ground almost instantaneously. You'll see now that he's starting to do some interesting counterweighting things. He's had to move his left arm way back behind his body to counterweight the foot way out in front of his body. And anytime you have to move parts of your body off axis and away from your center of mass, it means you have to draw them back into your core to make the mechanics work to stay balanced. It makes it harder. So these are probably part of the reasons why Niklas is not able to produce as much force in his backhand as some of the other players who are a lot more efficient and crisp in their body motions. Watch how he continues to move here. So he is balanced on that left foot. You can see how he's kind of leveraging off of it, moving in front of it now. And he's doing this huge windup with his upper body. I'm going to pause right there. So there's two things that are really interesting here. You can see how Niklas has his left arm way above his body, way out behind him. This kind of reminds me a little bit about how Sebastian throws the disc. Sebastian loads his upper body in the same way, but Sebastian does that when he's throwing the disc 80 plus miles an hour. Niklas is not throwing 80 miles an hour here. He's not even capable of doing that. And based on the biomechanics of this video, I'd imagine he's not throwing the disc faster than about 60, 61. Why is he loading his back arm so high behind his body? Again, this is stuff that he's probably done to enhance his timing in his biomechanics, but I don't believe that it's going to add any power. Although you will see that he starts to bring the left arm in quite early in his swing too. So you see he's moving forward, drifting forward, and now finally his plant toe has begun to hit the ground. You'll notice another thing that Niklas is doing that I believe subtracts from his power, and it probably does add to his consistency. He's got the disc all the way in the loaded position long before his back foot is down. And if you look at the players who really throw extremely far, players like Simon Lizotte or Eagle McMahon, they are extending and coiling their body and building up elastic energy through the core all the way through the backswing until the instant that the plant foot touches down, usually the heel of the plant foot. And then at that exact moment, this is the sort of rubber band effect that I've talked about on camera and then others have described. All of that energy is captive, wound up in the torso and ready to unleash as soon as they push down into the heel. Niklas is sacrificing all of that power. He's just got the disc kind of floating behind his back in his backswing, just waiting to take energy from the heel. It's almost sort of lackadaisical. And now he's settling into his brace. You see his left arm is coming in, driving around. Now you can see that the disc and the arm path here are actually not perfectly level either. His shoulder is getting a little bit kind of compressed into his chin as well. These are things that you see in the form of James Conrad as well. It's stuff that we don't consider generally ideal. You want to have everything balanced perfectly. You want to have the shoulders rotating under the chin without the chin feeling like it's moving. When you see the chin buried into the shoulder, it's usually indicative of the force production not going down the line. And in fact, if I had to reckon, Niklas is actually setting up his body now to throw hard in this direction, over his right shoulder a little bit, rather than down the line where he's aiming. To me, the way that his right leg is framed up and the way that his chin is buried into his shoulder indicates that his body now wants to produce force this way, rather than down the line. This is a major subtractive element in his biomechanics. And you'll notice also that as he moves the disc under leverage, his arm is only maintaining a biomechanically correct position at the very tail end of the swing because his shoulder is pinched off and his neck is into his shoulder. Players that throw really hard, those guys have this perfect kind of 90-degree angle the entirety of their swing. They don't get it right at the end. So Niklas is only really getting pure leverage and exerting energy on the disc in the last parts of the throw, right before the ejection happens, versus farther out in the backswing. So he's very nicely balanced here. There's his point of ejection. You can see he's begun to pivot on the heel a little bit. His leg is counterweighting, and the disc comes perfectly down the line. You can see how incredibly smooth this release is. The disc does not waver or wobble at all, even though we're looking at it at an apparently real slow speed, according to Anthem disc golf films. Let's watch this release again. Slides beautifully off of his fingers. disappears into the distance, smooth and silky as can be. But I believe that Niklas has a bunch of efficiencies in his form that allow him to be more accurate with his throws, but he does this at a huge sacrifice of energy. Of course, the current formula for doing well in professional disc golf is that accuracy is the overriding concern for power once you can throw the disc consistently 400, 425, 430 feet. And Isaac Robinson, the two-time world champion, is a living testament to this. Isaac Robinson does not throw the disc very hard, but he's able to compete and consistently beat players like Anthony Barella, who can throw 15 miles per hour faster off the tee. Niklas Anttila is a personification of the idea of sacrificing power for consistency and accuracy in the sport. And hopefully my little breakdown of his form has given you a sense of where he is leaking power, the things that he's doing differently from a conventionally hard thrower to maintain his consistency and efficiency in his economy of movement. Overall, it works for Niklas Anttila. He's a 1040 rated player. You can't argue with that. And I'm sure that he has a very bright future in the sport. Thanks so much for watching and tuning in. If you like the video, please leave a comment, please like, please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.